So when you produce music, you record and stuff, you're doing it on computer, turning to digital.
Well, you see, it really depends. Like I would say the process is for me very malleable. It depends on who I'm working with, what the situation is. Like, I'll give you an example. One piece I made, I was just spinning a record backwards, and it was just so beautiful. So I recorded that sound. Then I just added some basic drums, and then a little bit of delay, and at the end it just sort of fades away. It's like, it's just I couldn't plan that. It's just I heard that record, it made sense to me. I recorded it. Then there's times where I'm really intentional. It's like I set up like 10 microphones in the church, and I play for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours on a pipe organ.
Wow.
So that's one kind. And then like let's say I'm in the studio with other musicians and we're trying to produce let's say a funk record. Like let's say I'm a guitar player and a keyboard player. I might like lay down the drums and the bass and then just oversee the whole production and vocals. It's like I don't follow formulas.
I love it.
Like I let the formulas come to me.
Yeah, I like that. Which is rare among people who are trained musicians.
Yeah.
It's rare to find those who still have that.
But I call myself an autodidact. So like Leonardo da Vinci was a bastard, so he couldn't go to school and learn Latin. So the way he learned it by observing. For me, it's the same. It's like I'm trained. I know the theory, but like when I sit down, that all leaves my mind.
Yes.
Because it's like what Miles Davis said. You gotta learn it so much that you forget it.
Yes.
So this is the answer. And then like I would say music comes from everything. So like if you're listening, there's almost nothing that can't be music.
It's true.
So so today like with digital recording, with microphones and cameras being so ubiquitous and everyone's phones and everything, there's even projects I thought about like what if we had 1,000 phones from 1,000 different parts of the world all live streaming into one composition that everyone could tune into. So these kinds of things, it's like it's possible. Like Eric Whitaker, the choir composer, he had like 1,000, 2,000, even 5,000 singers. They all joined via Zoom or Skype or whatever, mixed that all together.
Really?
Yeah, and he even did a TED talk where there was like people virtual and people in person all playing music together, and he used the lag of the internet as part of the composition.
Wow.
So people like the vanguard is like it's like all the most interesting things are happening there. It's hard to get in the vanguard because the leading edge is the bleeding edge. But if you have the courage to be up right there in front, then then you can see things.
Absolutely.
That are just like recently NASA released a recording of the sound of the black hole.
I saw that. Heard that.
But they had to pitch it all the way up 57 octaves because you can't hear that stuff. That's why I love pipe organs and like things like thick pin rotary woofers, because you can hit sounds that are so low you can't hear it, but your whole body can
feel it. Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
And I know all this stuff because I'm actually designing a musical instrument. It's called the Infinite Sonic Possibility Interface. It's going to take another 10 years to be fully manifest, but basically it's all the world's musical sounds and musical traditions captured in audiophile quality samples in a series of massively parallel supercomputers that connects to a 5-keyboard console that's 360 degrees and with a proprietary speaker system. And out of that, like 2 or 3 of those are thick pin rotary woofers, because normal speakers don't go that low. So a rotary is like a helicopter fan blade connected to a magnetic coil. Basically, it's actually moving physical amounts of air to create the bass frequency. So yeah, the whole room vibrates with it. That's where it's at.
That's the technology right there. I always see this vision of like a room that was specifically built for sound.
Yeah.
You can feel, because there's some I don't know if you've seen maybe the speakers on the floors.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe
like yoga or whatever it
yeah.
be with the floor vibrates.
You gotta check out Maison Symphonique in Montreal, that concert hall.
You'll see. Yeah.
It's purpose-built for music. One of the things is the whole thing is just wood and like it's perfectly designed and acoustic position and all that. But that organ there has a 32-foot pipe. When you pull that out and press the pedal, because the organ has pedals, the whole floor vibrates in tune with that. The whole floor. So when you're sitting on the seats, you actually feel it coming through the seats.
Wow.
Then in Sweden, you gotta go to Sweden to the Gothenburg Symphony Hall. That pipe organ, they lay all the bass pipes, because bass doesn't have to be physically located like the same way when you arrange other speakers, because bass it permeates everything. So they put the bass pipes in the floor, underneath the basement. And then they have these like subwoofer vents, these ports that connect. So what happens is, it's like you know the bass is there because you can feel it in your seat and you can feel it in your body, but you don't know where it's coming from. So it's called non-local. It's called non-local bass. It's the first time that's ever been done.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a hell of an organ.
Bro.
And my musical godfather designed it. His name's Hans Eriksson. He's a Swedish organist. He also helped design an organ out of ice. Like, yeah.
I love people who pioneer.
It takes that kind of like risk, intellectual and artistic risk taking that's founded in like sound knowledge.
Yeah.
When I say sound, I mean like, you know.
Yes. Yes.
I love that the word is sound, like for the argument to be sound, and that's just
right. I agree. When I speak with people, I'm really in tune with their expression. I think it's like like intimacy, see into me. So I love to have intimate conversations, and I always take note of like how people share a message, because you do have the people like you who if it sounds good, you'll understand what that is. You process your reality through sound. And so even when you communicate, you're like, did that ring a bell? You're like, you know what I mean? Like those kind of people, and then you have people who,
and some people like through touch and aesthetics.
Yes.
Other people it's visual.
Exactly.
Some people it's olfactory.
Exactly.
For me the strongest is listening and smell. Yeah.
Yes.
And taste as well, but smell especially. Like
I agree.
I can smell a wine just without even tasting it. I can tell you. Same with food. Since I was a kid, I always smell my food before I eat it because I know just by smell. Is there enough salt? Is there enough pepper? Like I know everything about it. So it's like I think the senses are windows into that infinity.
I'm gonna send my son to come spend time with you at some point in life. So you can teach him.
I'll be his guru.
Yes. You love him. Yeah, he's when he gets into the music world, it's like
something. Let me grab the guitar and see if I can, because it has like this guitar. It's a handmade guitar, and it's made according to the Spanish tradition, grand Spanish tradition. So it has these resonances that just. So you can be in and out of tune, and it does all these interesting sympathetic resonances. So that note.
Take some of that creativity.
Yeah.
I love it. And so like this I'm sure this has purpose.
What the drawings? Yeah, man. I did it myself, like by hand, and it's basically the Muslim prayer Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, which which means in the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful. So I, I studied calligraphy as well. Like I actually worked at the Icon Museum in Toronto as well. So I did a series of courses, and I also studied like Zen Japanese calligraphy. So this is like kind of a synthesis of the two traditions. And I just drew it on. And then of course like the name of the guitar is Introspections. And then down here is my motto, one of my mottos, which is Creare Ergo Sum, which means I create or believe, therefore I am. So that's the guitar.
Legendary.
Yeah, it's been with like the didgeridoo. It's traveled, you know, it's gone places.
Places. I like your connection with different sounds. Like you're very, like you said, it's like infinite possibilities. The way you play, depending on the time you experiment, you don't just like pluck away. You're like intertwine, making perfect sounds. It's beautiful.
This room has really nice acoustics.
Mm. And so this is this also a song as well? Like, did you turn this? Do you have a song associated with this drum?
I've never actually done it, but I probably should. Now that you mention it, I mean, I would say like everything I play is informed by it, but it's like it comes through. But like I've never specifically gone backwards and say, hey, let me turn this into a song. But I should do that because I love visual scores. Like I love turning paintings, pictures, calligraphy, objects into sound. You know, like a pot, like a ceramic pot. You know, even if you just touch it, you hear the note, and you can make a whole piece out of that. Because one of the oldest instruments in the world is a clay pot. You know, they used to play that in India. They still do. It's called a gapan. Man, that mutala, that's some next level percussion. Because like they, you know, they both have their own ways of sounding and playing, their own techniques. But when you merge them together, you start hearing like 15 things when there's only two people playing. Because they're all like going in and out of time. You know? Like I'll show you a version of going in and out of time on the piano. Because like, you know, time is everything. Like rhythm is the most like primal and primordial form of like music. You know, rhythm is all one. So like, give you an example. If I'm playing like a Latin piece, you know, on here I'm going to play a 5. On here I'm going to play a 9.
Wow.
That's some numbers, man. That's a number game.
Mm. It's such a journey. It's like you literally, it takes you somewhere. It takes the consciousness somewhere. Every note, it's like you're going more, taking more steps on this path, this sound journey.
I call it music, musical fikiria, thinking music.
Mm. Mm. Wow. Wow. And does your parents also play?
No, they're not musicians. My dad's it's a form of music. He does computer science. He studied computer science. And my instrument is both using regular computing and quantum computing, so it's kind of interesting. He taught me how to program and code like from a really young age. And I started playing like games with him and teaching me how the computer worked. My mom's an accountant. She has a master's in accounting, so very like numerical, logical. So both of them are from this like very logical background. One of the words I use to describe myself is a logician. But I put three words together. I say logician, metaphysician, iconoclast. So one of my lectures is 2 plus 2 is 5. And I can prove that too, like using mathematics. It's not just like, because every system is basically created on a premise. So if you can figure out the premise, the whole system is like yours. Do what you want with it.
I got some premises to figure out, man. Okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. That right there. Let me sit on that for a second. That is so true. Because you know how it works. Internal and external. I like the way you think. I need your brain to help me figure out some premises because for real, I love the way you think and how you. Some people call it philosophy, so we use it for that, but we use that word, how you take, philosophy and math, really, and spirituality, and it's like the way you communicate and see life is they're all intertwined. And when you have some people who are hyper spiritual, hyper logical, hyper emotional, the lens is very, yeah, it's integrated. I love it. I aspire to think more like you, for real.
And philosophy is actually the way you live. People think it's just how you think, but actually, there's a word in German, Weltanschauung. It means your worldview or the way you see things. This is probably one of the most important words in my life. Weltanschauung, like how do you look at this? Because based on how you look at it, it is what it is. So, like, if you're a polymath, right? If you can combine, as you say, science, religion, philosophy, mathematics, intuitive and deductive reasoning, emotional intelligence, the whole world is open to you, because there's nothing that someone can put in front of you that will baffle you, because it's like you have all these tools. It's like, even if you don't get it at first, you can look behind. It's like, okay, that's the peers are doing this and that. So it's like you don't go to it saying you don't go into it saying I know the mystery. You go saying I can know the mystery. And that's what distinguishes the master from the student, because the master understands that. He doesn't go in with any presumption. He doesn't say I know. He doesn't claim anything. He makes no claims.
Often I tell people, I should have done this, I should have done that. And I was like, oh, just next time you'll do better.
You know better, yeah. And people think of mistakes as a bad thing. I'm like, I recently was interviewed in the newspaper, and I said, art comes from allowing yourself to make mistakes, but a true art is knowing which ones to keep.
Mm, mm. Say that to my wife. See,
I
yeah.
said that like that is a story there. It's a story. There's a story there. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like this non-judgmental place, but at the same time, like this is I also have a group on Facebook. I call it the critical participant. For me, critical participation is not about judgment, but it's about being able to see things as they are.
Yeah.
So then you make your decision based on that. So it's not that this person is or isn't worthy of my love, but it's like, am I in a place where I can love them? Are they in a place where they can love me? And then you look at this equation and you're like, okay, this doesn't make sense. And if it's worth it, you're gonna reframe it, change the addition, subtraction, but you make it work. And it's the same thing with life. Like if you're gonna really live life, then you sort of you're always balancing the equation. The reason we have the internet and computers and pretty much all the other things that we take for granted, like Wi-Fi, because of a mathematician, Persian mathematician who lived in the golden age of Islam, who worked at a place called Beit al-Hikmah, the House of Wisdom. He came up with algebra and algorithms. His name, Al-Khwarizmi, was algorized into algorithmi, and that's how you get algorithm. What he did, though, with his book of algebra, the compendium of balancing the equation, he didn't write a single thing in numbers. He wrote it all in just like plain language. So your average person could use that math. Like if someone died and you wanted to split the inheritance 5 ways, let's say 1/3, 1/3, and then the rest split between the 3 people. The way he wrote his book, by the way, this was really advanced stuff for that. Even today, most people wouldn't be able to do it in their head. But he wrote it in such a way, just in plain language, so a person could actually do it in their mind. Right? And then the other mathematician that I think his math is in everything, from studying black holes to statistics to gambling, everything. There's nothing you do in his math that's not there. His name is Srinivas Ramanujan. He's an Indian mathematician. Most mathematicians have a teacher of some sort, at least someone who teaches you the basics. This guy is probably the only autodidactic, which means he learned himself, mathematician in history. And the thing is, he didn't come to mathematics like you and I do, which is through the conscious mind, through writing things out and figuring it out. For him, it was like breathing. He could just dance with the numbers. Just dance because it was all intuitive and inductive reasoning. So it didn't go through necessarily the conscious mind. He didn't even know how he got there, but he got there. And almost 90% of what he did was proved correct, many 100 years after he died. But the few errors that were made, he actually workshopped them with, again, a great mathematician, G.H. Hardy in Cambridge, because he sent his work to 100 mathematicians, different universities. Most thought he was a really lunatic, especially because of the way he wrote, didn't write the way most people in math expect it to be written. But G.H. Hardy looked at his work, the letter that he sent, and he famously said, "This is so profoundly true that if it wasn't, nobody would have the imagination to invent it." That's what he said. And then when he was trying to induct him into the Royal College of the Royal Fellowship, FRS it's called, Fellowship of the Royal Society, he made the comment. He said, we don't invent these formula. They are already out there, but it's only for the greatest minds to divine them. And you use the word divine, because you see, know also comes from that word divine. Know also means comes from gnosis. Gnosis means wisdom. So to know, it's about the wisdom. Like the knowledge is it's one step, but that knowledge, that information, is not particularly relevant unless you're wise about it. Like if I know someone's cheating on another person and I tell one partner, right, and I'm not a marriage counselor or whatever, I'm not like my intention, but I don't have a good intention, or I have no intention, and I do something like that, then the fact that I knew that and I told is actually not good because I broke something. But if I knew that, and then I thought about it, and I thought, I was like, how can I do this? How can I approach something to make it better? Maybe I figure out, it's not my place. There's also wisdom in knowing what not to say, which is what my father also, like he's a deep thinker, he's a Sufi, but a lot of the times he just stays silent. Because when you start talking, sometimes, it's like, what's the point? Sometimes if you're silent, that speaks volumes. So for me, music is just decorating that silence, because that silence is the native state.
I love the way you describe things. It's like divine. It's so divine. Wow. I'm gonna just check my phone. I heard but to come across people like you and gift of being able to hear the way you describe things is it's absolutely amazing. Let me just turn this light on.
This is gorgeous.
Yeah, that's a Chinese shower. And but it was made, it's slowly made in bamboo.
Yeah.
But they made it, he makes like all these. Hey, what's up, Chingaza?
Yeah, bro, I'm already find this ink and I'm coming back there to people.
Okay, no problem. You found the screen for his computer?
Yeah, I find the screen, but that's expensive.
How much they want for it? 1.4?
They need almost like 60.
Oh, 600. Okay, that was better than the price he told me before. Alright, that's not that bad.
And then I told Mystery and then it's the issue.
Oh, okay, well, there it is.
Yeah. When you be ready, instead I can even send this thing and go
Mission accomplished. You got a solution. Perfect.
Alright, then I'm coming there.
Okay, no problem. I'm just down the road at the Russian Cultural Center, so Carrie will do what you need. Okay, brother.
Then I'll be moving.
So, I was one of the musicians from Zanzibar. Very rootsy band. Very rootsy. Man, I love the way you think. Seriously. Like, it's so refreshing to meet people like you. And it's a privilege to hear the way you decipher information and the way you take wisdom, insight, hindsight, foresight, and forethought, and even your connection with words and your whole. I want my son to be just like you. I want to be just like you.
Brother, you already are, man. You already are. You just gotta. It's like the sculptor,
Yeah.
It's like the kung fu. You gotta chip away the marble to reveal that sculpture.
Absolutely.
But the sculpture was already there in that marble.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You give like tight hugs. It's really good.
Yeah, bro. We are one. We are together.
Yes. And I love the shirt too. Like
positive people. Man, I have a tattoo on my chest. That's all I'm about.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's your Weltanschauung. That's what your worldview.
It's what
positive people
changed my life when I realized there's actually people out here who are amazing like yourself. I realized like they actually exist. Everyone's not shitty. Of course, you have a few, but that's a part of the environment.
Game. That's the game, yeah.
It's like it's not even unnatural. It's natural. So it's like, why am I going to focus on disease when I can focus on the healthy body?
Yeah.
Health, it's like health. So when I realized that and started inviting positive people in my life, all of them came with gold.
Yeah.
And so my life has truly been enriching because people like you, other people, they feed wisdom. And I feel like you also live your life like that. You have a lot of teachers, and that's why you're able to express, because you've had those masters that was able to give share their gold.
Yes.
Yes. You like you carry when you play, like and feel the essence of the.
Well, I tell people when I sit down, I'm representing all of the world's musical traditions.
Bam. Yes, you can feel that you're going to something bigger. It's more.
There's always more there, but I know that. So
Exactly.
then when I'm sitting here, even with my limitations, I'm still connecting with that.
The infinite possibilities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly. The unlimited.
The unlimited.
Yeah. There's a word for it. It's in potentia.
In
potentia means all that can exist, but which has not yet been manifest. In potentia. So the creative is always going there. It's like what can I bring? But it's like there's if you told someone there's an unlimited amount of money, they'd like freak out. What do you mean there's unlimited money? But there is, because even money is just an idea.
That's true.
And ideas are infinite. So my dad's like, you spend money like water. I'm like, Dad, I am like water, man.
That's a great response. Why you give me all the gems? My wife will be like, huh. Wow, I love it. And I never discuss age because I really don't believe, but I'm just curious, like,
You want to know?
yeah,
Yeah,
just because.
yeah. My physical age is 23.
Shut the fuck. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You're gonna be floating when you're 60. You're just gonna be, look where you go. Wow, that's amazing. I love it. I had my first son when I was 23. Yeah, now I'm 28. Yeah. And I don't subscribe to the anchors of age, but like your development. I want to see where you are now so I can see, in the next 20, 30,
You want to
40, 50,
extrapolate.
60. Exactly. Yeah. Wow, impressive. Your parents are amazing people. Can't wait to meet.
Yeah, they haven't had it easy, but they're fulfilled. I think they're proud.
Yeah.
My name, which is Afraz, in Farsi, it means the noble, insurmountable one. This is what it means. So my mom says elevated soul. That's the easy way to say it. But basically, Faroz in Persian means a very high place, like a mountain, on top of a mountain. So Afraz essentially means like I am the mountain, like I'm unconquerable. But that idea is not that I'm unconquerable. It's that, for me anyway, the meaning is that the essence of reality to me is constantly modular. So every time you conquer one module, it's like there's 1,000 more that open. It's that's why I call life the game. It's the game, But if you know the rules and you know the board, man, you go from being a novice to a disciple, to an accepted fellow, then you become a master, then you become a grandmaster. There's all these levels, but they're infinite. Because if I meet a certain kind of grandmaster, he may play at a 2,500 level, like a FIDE. It's like the way of rating chess. Then you might meet someone that plays 2,800. He's also a grandmaster. So now they've had to make a subcategory to say these are the grandmasters of old, and these are the new capacity what a grandmaster is. And in 50 years, that's going to change again.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, if you learn from the game of chess is so old, right? It's like tabla. Tabla is 5 million years old, 5,000 years. Now all that history. Imagine you could suddenly be every master that ever was playing the tabla. Then imagine what you could say. Because people think, you have to. If you know nothing, then you can be original. But actually, well, first of all, being original doesn't exist because we don't live in an ahistoric vacuum. Meaning we have context, right? But the thing is, if you know everything, because you are where you come from. If you know your whole history, man, you can say the newest stuff because you know everything that has happened before. But if you don't know that, then you can just repeat what other people said and what other people did. That's why history keeps repeating itself, because humans forget. The Urdu word for human is insan. Insan means the one who forgets. You forget your true nature.
That's some uncovering to do then.
But that's what I'm saying, right? Like the people say, know thyself, know yourself. Well, what is knowing yourself? It's knowing your true nature.
Yeah.
Because if you understand your own nature, then there's no.
So, for someone who wants to begin that journey, what would you suggest them to do?
Well, you seem to be on the path, so I would say find a great master of meditation, ideally meditation. Doesn't matter where you go. If you go to India, if you go to Japan, if you go to China, if you go to Persia, it doesn't matter where you go. But you need to find a great master of meditation. Yeah. And you need to sit.
Yes.
Because that sitting is very important.
Agreed.
Because I would say 90% of mastery is self-discipline. And not even self-discipline, but just discipline. Because once you have discipline, then the task becomes manageable. And I'm not saying other people's discipline on you, your own discipline.
Yeah.
Your own discipline.
I know what you mean. Wow. One of my most soul revealing experiences was at the Vipassana, the 10-day silent retreat that was created by S. Inca, India. And wow, talk about like you sit for 10 days, no communication, no eye contact, no music, no stimulation. So much going on. When I left, the smile on my face is so big. A, because I was so happy it was over. B,
Yeah, I know that feeling. I know that feeling.
B, the work that was done, I was experiencing it. It's like when you're in a cave, you meditate for 20 years, yeah, but when you go into the world, you're experiencing.
It's like hyper. It's like
Oh
everything's like the colors are richer, the tastes are richer. It's like everything is like.
My face was hurting because my smile was
so big,
permanent for like days, you know? And you know, when you have kids, sometimes it like, because I would say when I was 23, I was like soaring, and I still am, just differently. But when you have kids, when you don't have kids, you can solely focus really on like, when you start having kids, a lot of your attention is diverted. They're not just a child, but the wife, which women very needy, which is great because you give and then you give back, and it's like this.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle. I would have it and not have it. But lately, I've been realizing, okay, I've been investing all of myself into my family. Now I really need to start like sitting again and investing time into, so that I can, because I feel like I'm at this point.
Well, you know, that's why in villages they say it takes a village to raise a child.
It does.
So you need your village.
You must.
You
must. That's why your kids will be very fortunate to have grandparents, like your parents as grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting too, because like on my mom's side, my mom's father and mother, they died before I was born, and my dad's father was already gone. Only his mother. I met his mother, you know, a number of times, and I think she died when I was like 13 or 14. But the thing is, I always had grandfather figures.
Yes.
Like,
exactly.
Like in my own family, also outside.
Yeah.
You know, like the wise man, the wise woman. You know, because we owe the wise. I mean, we owe the people that go before us so much.
So much.
You know.
So much.
So like when you can sit with them, you can sit at their feet. You know, in Swahili, the word shikamo means I place myself at your feet, like how you greet the elders. That's what it means. Indian culture too, like you touch your guru's feet, not because they're greater than you, but because they initiated you into the tradition.
Yeah.
Because they share, like they share that gold.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to be humble to learn.
Yeah, it's like that process of gratitude.
Have to be.
Yeah.
Have to be.
Yeah.
So that's why I really appreciate these practices, and I can see beyond this. People, oh, no, I never did that. I never got someone to master. It's like you're limiting yourself.
Yeah.
That's why you stay so small. Well, okay, stay small. Wow.
Yeah. Rumi said, if why do you think you're so small? You're the entire universe in ecstatic motion. Right. So it's interesting because, like, part of humility, intellectual humility, is knowing what you don't know. Because that's where you can start, right? That's where you keep going. But if you think I know something, then the door's closed. You can't. You've trapped yourself in a room. There's the walls. But if you say I don't know, then suddenly the door opens because you started knocking. Even if you go to 1,000 doors and you knock, none of them open. Out of that process of knocking, you're richer.
Absolutely. I agree.
Your knuckles got harder. You know, you developed perseverance, stamina.
Okay. No.
It's even a dance, yeah.
Wow.
I'd love to try didgeridoo piano.
Me too.
Dude, the smell of it is just incredible. It's so intoxicating.
It really is. And the way I normally play is I do like therapy, so I'll people lay down and I play over them.
Yeah, sound healing.
Sound healing.
Yeah. You know, I've literally never met another sound healer that in my whole life that has the same kind of like intuitive empathy that you have. And so like even the way like you did a sound healing for me when even before we started playing, you did a sound healing and I was like it was so cleansing, it was so grounding, it was so centering.
Mm.
Like it foreshadowed everything that would happen.
Blessings. Such a gift to share. Glad to receive it. Yes.
I heard it, I felt it. It's just
Yes. So how should we start? Should I?
you can go ahead. You go ahead.
And then you can.
I'll find it.
It's not phenomenal.
Oh,
Oh no, no, making music.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not.
That's a beautiful. That's an E flat that you got rolling
E
there.
flat.
Yeah, and the partials, man. Like there's so many overtones.
Mm.
You know, But Zanzibar's live organ too,
That's
so
right.
it's gonna happen.
We're gonna do it.
And this is just the first chapter.
Absolutely. Yes.
Let's flip through.
Yes.
I love the breath work he did at the end, you know.
That was. It's like the piano. What's that? I have this one instrument from Mexico. It's like this big. Blow to the low. Yeah.
It's just-
The dance, bro. It's like
this, you know, in some ways this is such a monumental instrument and it's almost shaped like a tusk.
it is.
But I'll tell you something, they did used to use tusks to do the same sort of thing. There's one example of it at the Icon Museum, it's got the same kind of concept, like a didgeridoo. You play it. They play it for two reasons, in battle, or like to mark someone's death or birth. You know? And it was huge, and some were so big, like you just sit on the floor, they would have a mount, you sit on the floor.
Wow.
And the fort, when they would play this thing, the whole fort just billowing, you know, ancients had some serious technology.
Absolutely.
There's a fort in India. There's a huge dome tower, just all the way up, 25 feet, 25 meters, not even feet, meters. And the way that the people would let, like the general know that they were at war, that there were elephants at the door, whatever, it just clap once, you would hear it 10 miles away.
Wow.
So they didn't yell, they didn't scream, they didn't send someone, they just clapped and they heard it 10 miles away. It was a huge projector. Like the whole dome was built acoustic. But it only worked if you stand on this exact point in the center. You had to know exactly where to stand. When you did, you clapped. So, man, there's some technology.
There's some technology.
It's like some next level. Like it makes Wakanda look like a kindergarten.
Yeah. It does. Especially the way they're using it now for entertainment. You know, it's like
It's
population
become
control.
But-
Almost.
But the technology that the ancients used was, they did it all by math. They all they imagined it, right?
Yeah.
And the whole thing, many of these structures, these domes, there's no gravity, there's no cement or mortar or whatever. It's just gravity holding the stones in place. I'm also a mason, so like there's all these lessons built with the different measurement tools and the different.
So when I get the land, you gotta come and help me build the sound
We gotta do it.
dome.
We gotta
I'm
do it.
looking at this place in Costa Rica. I'm working on getting there. It's called the Samana Group.
Okay.
Brother, this place, it's what they're doing is absolutely they're taking it's like eco build. They call it they build with nature.
With nature.
Luxuriously, but they
Build
build
with nature.
with it. It's such
Have
amazing.
you been to the Serena Hotel in Zanzibar?
No, stay next to it.
My friend, you need to go to the Serena Hotel. And there's another Serena Hotel here. Dude, the acoustics of the lobby, and there's this beautiful 9-foot piano from the 1800s.
What?
It's the piano that Liszt played. It's a builder in France. Built the whole pianos by hand.
Is it playable now?
It is, and I play it.
So when you come.
It's, dude, no, but not the Zanzibar Serena, but the Dar Serena.
Oh.
And that hotel is literally 5 minutes from here, but that's my spiritual artistic home when I'm here. That's where I go, that's where I play.
Because the connection with sound, man. I'm so happy. Grateful.
So E flat, right?
Tanzania Culture Center.
Legend. Legend.
Haina shida.
Man, the music we play is
Ah,
it's intoxicating.
It is very intoxicating.
Man, I think we could fill festivals of 10,000 people. I think we could do it.
That's it. Here.
Gotta make it happen, man. Give Coachella something to think about, man.
Yeah, you need it.
They need it because you know it's like the same shit regurgitated.
It's so low vibration.
And it's like everything, you know, it's just like everything's just the same chords,
Right.
the same ideas,
Right.
you know. Man, they gotta hear shit like this. They gotta hear some of that shit, man. We gotta take them, you know.
That is science right there. That's wow. Yes, I agree.
Cause people want to hear it, people want to feel it, man.
Yeah, it opens up new channels of the brain. Like it opens up new realities. Because it's not in that box that you were speaking of earlier. It's not in there. It's outside. So it takes people on a journey that they wanted and prayed for, yet they didn't know how to get through what it looks like. Sounds like, you know? Yes.
And this is too precious not to share.
We shouldn't die. Our riches.
Yeah. You know, the family piano that I learned on, had a family piano in our house. I donated it to like my first school, primary school. Donated it to them. And I did a concert. You know, all the kids played music. We had painting, art, everything. And the reporter was like, I've never gone anywhere where I had like such a rich experience because there was everything. There was music, there was painting, there was kids singing and like it was so so deep. Like I gave a speech, I said that, you know, in Swahili I said that the gravity that is contained in our musical, artistic, and intellectual traditions is so deep we cannot afford to not share it. So that's why that piano going to those kids is a huge deal because it's opening all those minds, all those doors.
Absolutely. I'm sure many of them walked away with new ideas.
Yeah. Parents too, like, because never too old to learn. Parents, teachers, you know, like the former vice principal, now he's the principal. You know, his WhatsApp motto is learning to understand. It's like a phrase, when I met you, I didn't know you did all this stuff. Like, you're blowing my mind, you know? I'm like, that's good. This is just step one.
Yes.
You know, my artist's name in Swahili is Asiowezwa Kueleweka, which means the one who cannot be understood or fathomed. So unfathomable, basically. Asiowezwa Kueleweka. And this instrument is amazing. I'm so in love with it. Does she have a name?
Not yet, actually. Oh my gosh. You wanna play?
no, I just want to ask, where can I buy this?
You know,
One day I saw one guy in Facebook, but he's not in Tanzania, some Central Africa, wherever you sell these things.